Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the third video in my little series of my top 5 favourite movies. This is all based around the 1980s. Now, as I said to you in the previous two videos, Horror Hands, a channel that I follow, great channel, please go and give him a subscription. It's an amazing channel. He's done the best horror film in every year. Like from I don't know, the 1940s or wherever he started, all the way through up to date. And he's done a very comprehensive sort of look at his favourite film of each of that year, horror film, all the way up to date. Now, I haven't got the sort of knowledge, or maybe possibly all the movies like he has, to do that. So what I'm doing, I'm just concentrating on the 80s, and I'm doing my top 5 films of every year of the 80s. So I've done 1980 and I've done 81. So today is my top 5 favourite horror movies from 1982. So a great year for horror, and it's a really difficult one, and I've probably left out quite a few people's favourites, but these are my favourites, and that's just what this video is about. It's about films that I have a real love for, and they really mean something to me, that I probably spent hours in my youth when I was in the 80s watching these on VHS, and I've just fallen in love with all these movies, and they're just all very, very special to me. So we'll crack on. At number 5 is a sequel film to a 70s film, and this is Amityville 2, The Possession. This is an amazing film, really, really, really cool film. It kind of leads on from the first one, but in the sense like it's in the house, but it's a different family. And this time, the young lad that lives there gets sort of possessed by the evil that's in the house, and it sort of makes him go ahead to sort of try and kill his family and do really bizarre things to his family and stuff like that. A really cool film, and this film really needs a company to pick it up. It really needs Arrow or Second Sight to pick this film out and get it out onto a Blu-ray, possibly a 4K transfer. I've only got the DVD. I think it's only available for DVD here in the UK. I've not seen a Blu-ray version of it. If there is, let me know down below, because I'd be interested in picking it up, because it is one of my favourite films. This is the collector's edition though, which is really cool. It comes with the DVD, but it also comes with some sort of goodies that were sort of which you get now, but back in the day they were you didn't get many of them. It comes with a booklet, which again is really, really cool for sort of the time. But wow, it comes with a booklet and stuff like that. And this does go on about the real horror. It tells you the story of the real house in Amityville, which the first film was sort of based on. It's a true story. It also comes with a couple of art cards with the Sanctuary Video logo in the bottom, which is really, really quite cool. Yeah, it comes with a set of art cards. And the lad sort of becomes possessed by the house, and his dad's horrible, and you're kind of rooting for him really, but then he sort of it overtakes him, and he becomes sort of really sort of evil. But it's a really cool film, quite eerie and spooky, and quite a scary film. I loved it when it came out. It used to be on my to watch list, you know, I don't know if you have that. You have comfort movies, when you have movies that you turn to. And back in the day, obviously in the 80s, I didn't have lots of money, so I couldn't go out and buy film after film after film. And to be honest, a lot of films weren't widely available in the 80s. You know, they just come out gradually, unless you're lucky to live probably in America where everything's on tap. But here it all came out sort of gradually. So some of these movies you kind of watched over and over and over, just because, especially if you've enjoyed it and you got something out of it, something quite sinister or evil come out of it, and you think, well, that was really cool. you want to watch it again and again. And a lot of these films are like that. Especially a couple more that I'm going to get speaking onto a bit later in the top 5. But yeah, number 5, The Amityville 2, The Possession. Really cool film. Number 4, we're off to Italy for a Dario Argento film, and it's called Tenebrae. Now, this is my favourite Argento film. I believe it was on the Video Nasty list. And it's one of his excellent giallo films about a guy that's wrote a book, like a sort of murder sort of book, and then there's all these killings happening around him and people he knows, all sort of like pretty much based around the killings in his book. And so it's like a mystery, sort of like a giallo solving who's done it sort of thing, but it's got an amazing sort of twist at the end of the film, which is fantastic. And it's such a clever film and wonderfully shot. The one thing I must point out with Argento films, he has a fantastic ability of picking great photographers and sort of directors of photography, and he just manages to capture the essence of the film, not just in the story but in the environment. And this is no different. It's really got that real sort of 80s look to it, although it looks almost 70s, but it does look aged. But that plays well for the film, and the story's gripping. You know, you really just think, what's going on? Who's killing these people and stuff like this? And you've got these clumsy sort of like female male detective, and it's like they're very sort of clumsy and stuff, but they're quite good characters and stuff. And that's another good thing about Argento's films. He has great characters in it. They might not be the best acted characters, but they certainly are rememberable. And this is a great film, really cool. So number 4 in my favourite films in 1982 is Tenebrae by Dario Argento. Now, number 3 is another one of those movies that I told you about that were a comfort. This one here was, I'm trying to think of the word for you. It was kind of left on the shelf, if you like. Now, nobody's picked it up. It's a fantastic film. It's directed by Jack Shoulder, and it's called Alone in the Dark. Now, this stars Jack Palance, Donald Pleasance, Martin Landau. What a cast. It's got an array of cast, and it's absolutely fantastic, and no one has picked it up. Crazy, right? These two films need Blu-ray releases, they need 4K releases, they need to be appreciated for the amazing films they are. This is an incredible film, very similar to Halloween, in the sense that it's based from a mental asylum, and of course Donald Pleasance works there, and there's about 4 or 5 patients escape from there one evening. I believe it's around the Christmas time. I'm sure it is. Couldn't really tell you unless you can read Spanish. This is the Spanish release. I can't find a UK release anywhere on DVD. I did have it on VHS years and years ago. That was the cover, Alone in the Dark, on VHS. But it's never got a proper official release here. I don't believe it could have been in the Video Nasty category, but I don't think it was. I think it sort of skimmed it because it wasn't really that gory. There is bits of gore in there, but it's very much like Halloween when it comes to the gore and the sort of kills. And here, so these patients have escaped, and they've all got problems about them. One is a sort of pyromaniac. Another one is like a serial killer. When he kills people, his nose bleed. There's like a child molester and stuff like this. So all these different sort of mentally disturbed criminals escape this asylum, and they're let loose on the town overnight. And there's lots of people out and about. I'm not sure if it's Halloween or Christmas time. I can't remember. I will have to revisit it. It's been a while. But it's absolutely perfect. It's a perfect slasher film. When I think of perfect slasher films, this is one of them, along with the next one, number 2. It's just brilliant. It just plays out really well. The characters are cool. You feel for these poor patients, and you feel for their victims, because you get to know some of the victims. Like, there's a family that sort of entrust on one of them because he helps them out, and this is the serial killer sort of thing. And there's all these sort of things going on. Really, really cool film. Such an underrated horror film. Alone in the Dark. My number 3 favourite film of 1982. So, number 2, my second favourite film of 1982 is Pieces. Guys, you know how much I love this film so much. It's another slasher film based at like a high school. There's a killer killing off all the sort of kids in the school with like axes and chainsaws, and he's dressed like a giallo sort of killer, and it's a who's done it sort of thing all the way to the end. Christopher George, Linda George stars in it. You know, I've used that clip many a times of her. I don't think I have it anymore on my phone, but if I do, I'll stick it on the end. But yeah, it's a fantastic movie. Such a cool film. Another extremely underrated horror film from the 80s, and it's my second favourite film of 1982. That's Pieces. So number 1 is an absolute classic, and it can't beat anything else. You know, I have a real passion for sci-fi horror when it's done really, really well. Like Alien in 1979 is the most perfect film ever made in my eyes. Absolutely fantastic. But number 1 goes to John Carpenter, and it's The Thing, starring Kurt Russell. Incredible film. This is based about an American sort of research team out in Antarctica, and they're going about their business, and they suddenly find a dog approaching the camp, and a helicopter chasing the dog and trying to kill it. Unfortunately, the helicopter ends up being blown up itself, because they dropped a hand grenade and stuff because they're trying to kill this dog. So they go, Kurt Russell and the team go to the Norwegian research site and find that it's been absolutely decimated. Everyone's dead. It almost looks suicidal, but it also looks like they found something in the ice. They found this film footage that they watch, and it's like a massive spaceship. So they go to that place and they find the massive spaceship, and it's been there for thousands of years. By the depth of the snow, they can tell that it's been there for like thousands of years. But there's also something by the side of the spaceship they've dug out, and that is the Thing, the monster. And the monster in this film has the ability to overtake whatever it ingests. So if it's a person, it will look like that person. If it's a dog, it will look like that dog. So that's all the synopsis I'm going to give you on it. It turns into a who is it, who's next sort of thing, who is the Thing, and it's a really survival horror film where no one trusts each other. They all turn on each other, and you know, and they all eventually succumb to becoming the Thing. Or do they? You need to watch The Thing and enjoy it. It's fantastic. It's extremely gory. It's got amazing effects in it. It's a great film. Probably my favourite John Carpenter film, if I'm being honest with you. Followed by The Fog, followed by Halloween. But this one is definitely my favourite film. Absolutely love it. And that is my favourite horror film of 1982, The Thing. What's your favourite, guys? Let me know down below if you can remember 1982. But what was your favourite film of that year? It was a fantastic year for film. Absolutely cool. I think 1982 and 84 were my 2 favourite years for horror films in the 80s. Don't get me wrong, every single year was fantastic. But those two stand out to me by some of the releases in those years. The Thing is incredible, absolutely amazing. So my top 5 favourite movies of 1982 is number 5, Amityville: The Possession. Number 4, Tenebrae. Number 3, Alone in the Dark. Number 2, Pieces. It was difficult to put it at number 2, but number 1 is The Thing, and you can't beat that. It's just an incredible film. It's a masterclass in horror film. It's amazing. The soundtrack's incredible. Everything about that film is just A1. It's just an amazing film. And there we are, guys. That's the next one. So the next one will be my favourite top 5 horror films of 1983, which will be coming up maybe after Christmas now. It might be after Christmas week. I'm not sure, because I'm trying to spread them out. I don't want to do them all in a row. I'm trying to spread them out. Christmas week itself, I've got a few reviews coming out prior to Christmas. Then I've got a couple of video game Christmas videos coming out on my simulator games. And then I'm going to do a few comedies over the Christmas period, just to lighten the load. I'm going to look at some classic comedies, old classic comedies for that sort of Christmas sort of period, just to give it a bit of a break from the horror. But I'll be straight back into it when we get past sort of like that sort of Boxing Day sort of time. I'll be straight back into the horror. But until then, have a wonderful Christmas. Hope you spend it with your family. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be seeing the lad this Christmas, just because of work commitments. Now he's working. He works pretty much weekends, and because the way Christmas falls, he works on the Sunday. He's not allowed to take the Sunday off. So he's got to work Christmas Eve. So unfortunately, there's no transport for him to get him there. I don't drive, he doesn't drive, so we got no way of sort of seeing each other on Christmas. But I would have gone up to see him before Christmas to take his gifts, and I think he's planning on coming for a couple of weeks, hopefully in January. He keeps saying, "Oh, come in March, Dad." I think, well, come in January, because I can come and see you in February. Then we've only got March, a gap where we don't sort of see each other, and in April new holidays start, don't they? So at work, so you can start booking time to see each other again. But that's down to him. But whatever you do, have a wonderful Christmas, and a wonderful Christmas out to these following horror channels: to Horror Hands, The Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Designs, Pizzawell, I Am the Ice Lord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House, and once again, a massive shout out to the lad. Merry Christmas, everyone, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.